Nationally recognized music museum is located right here in Siouxland. KTIV's Irvin Doman stopped by the museum in Vermillion, South Dakota, as they opened a new exhibit earlier this year to celebrate a big milestone.
As Good as Gold, the first 50 years is the exhibit you can see all around me. Now, this exhibit opened up back in January and is a celebration of the half-century mark since the National Music Museum first opened their doors.
It's really a treasure. This is the largest collection of musical instruments in the country and really in the world if you look at collections that have a broad array of types of things.
The new exhibit features a vast catalog of musical instruments that have a rich history.
The earliest part of the collection originally came as part of the instruments belonging to Arnie B. Larson, who was a music director who got a position here at USD and brought his collection of 2,500 instruments down from Brookings, South Dakota.
In 1973, Andre Larson, Arnie's son, was the one who proposed having the museum on the university's campus. One of the newer additions to the exhibit took nearly 3 decades to find.
There are a lot of things in this that I really like, but there was one instrument that we had acquired. It's a Italian polygonal virginal, which is a type of harpsichord.
The exhibit is broken up into 5 separate themes that highlight the collection periods. In Vermillion, South Dakota, Irvin Doman, KTIV News 4.
Admission is free for the museum. Check out this story on KTIV.com to see the dates and times as Good as Gold. The first 50 years will be open.